But as I mentioned, Bernie Sanders did have a sound response to what is going on. And I believe
we can't allow that. We cannot
have that. But I believe this is from Ken Klippenstein, where if you read Bernie's response, and I will read it for you, it should come as no surprise, no great surprise, that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them. First, it was the white working class, and now it is the Latino and Black workers as well. While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. Today, while the very rich are doing phenomenally well, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and we have more income and wealth inequality than ever before. Unbelievably, real inflation accounted for weekly wages for the average American worker are actually lower now than they were 50 years ago. Today, despite an implosion in technology and worker productivity, many young people will have a worse standard of living than their parents, and many of them worry that artificial intelligence and robotics will make a bad situation even worse. Today, despite spending far more per capita than other countries, we remain the only wealthy nation to not guarantee health care to all as a human right, and we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. We alone, among major countries, cannot even guarantee paid family and medical leave. Today, despite strong opposition from a majority of Americans, we continue to spend billions funding the extremist Netanyahu government's all-out war against the Palestinian people, which has led to the horrific humanitarian disaster of mass.
I resent that word. I resent that phrase. This is not a humanitarian disaster.
It's a genocide. I will replace it with genocide.
Okay.
Of mass malnutrition and the starvation of thousands of children. Will the big money interests and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from the disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain and political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has so much economic and political power? Probably not. In the coming weeks and months, those of us concerned about grassroots democracy and economic justice need to have some very serious political discussions. Stay tuned.
And then
the head of the DNC had something to say. Colin, if you will. Jamie Harrison, who may not be
somebody who can call this man out the way that I want to call this man out. We need somebody on this show.
I'm sure our good friend Tim Black will have something to say about this.
Tim.
Jamie Harrison may not be as bad as Debbie Wasserman Schultz, but he damn sure is trying his best. In response to Bernie's statement, he says, this is straight up BS. Biden was the most pro-worker president of my lifetime. Listen, it's one thing if he said he was the most pro-union president of your lifetime. You're saying he's the most pro-worker president of your lifetime is such a crock of shit. Trump was more of a pro-worker president than Joe Biden was. Saved union pensions. Yeah. That and what did he take away? Created millions of good paying jobs. You mean the millions of jobs that came back as a result of COVID, and even marched in a picket line for 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
And some of MVP's plans would have fundamentally transformed the quality of life and closed the racial wealth gap for working people across the country. From the child tax credits, which you removed, to $25K for a down payment for a house. Yeah. That doesn't solve the problem, nor does saying you're going to tax 25% of unrealized capital gains. You don't know jack shit about real estate. To Medicare covering the cost of senior health care in their home. The audacity of that last statement.
What a tool. What a friggin' tool.
There are a lot of
post-election. We should have put this up for Dr. West. That's what we should have done.
There are a lot of post-election takes, and this one ain't a good one. Oh, I'd love to hear his post-election take.
This is his post-election take. This is it. This is it. We should have put this up when Dr. West was here and let him call out Jamie Harrison.
That's the beauty of having Dr. West for 45 minutes. It goes by like this.
I know, but seriously, like these tools are just Let them go down with the ship. They're like the violinists on the Titanic. I honestly, good riddance.
Well, here's the thing, and this is where I think a lot of people have this misconception that there is even a lesson to be learned here. The only lesson that is going to be learned is by working class people. That is it. The Democratic Party, as it is currently constituted, is dead.
They're incapable.
Not going to learn anything.
No.
If them going on CNN last night and saying that Kamala wasn't pro-Israel enough is the reason she lost the election, they are proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are captured by AIPAC among other corporate special interests, and they're not going to change that. They will allow the party to completely be destroyed.
Good.
And they won't change.
Good. What I think's going to happen is they're just going to keep bleeding and bleeding more people. As we know, very few people actually register as new Democrats. That's it's very uncommon. So let them just keep becoming more and more irrelevant. And that's what's going to ultimately happen. They're going to just continue to lose. You've
got a better chance of pushing through economic populism in the GOP than you do in the Democratic Party. And that's really saying something. It really is, because there is a lot of reception. If you cut out the woke politics, the GOP voter, the average GOP voter, is very receptive to a lot of what Bernie talked about, which is why there was a significant crossover between the Bernie voter and the Trump voter, especially in the upper Midwest. It's not a mistake that Trump won the same path to victory this time as he did in 2016. Not a mistake.
I'd also like to say I even said, and that this we could find a clip of, because I know I have said this on this show, that this election was going to be an exact repeat of 2016, but insert Kamala instead of Hillary. And that I know for sure I did. I didn't necessarily foresee that he'd win every swing state. I was wanting that to happen, but I didn't know that would happen.
Well, right now, I believe Trump, as you had suggested would happen, it looks like Trump is going to win every swing state. He is going to exceed 310 electoral votes. He is going to have a real mandate. And again, he's winning the popular vote by over 4 million votes. That's a lot. That's Hillary won the popular vote in 2016 by 2.
And apparently Trump got less votes than he did against Joe.
Hold on. They haven't finished counting yet. It looks like it's going to be very close. It's going to be very close to 2020. But again, a lot of people, the other thing that you're going to have now, especially since there is such a significant drop off and a variance in terms of the vote numbers between 2012, 2016, 2020, and now 2024, people are going to continue to harp on this 81 million vote total for Biden back in 2020.